He cannot afford to have him take the center of the cage. It's going to be a long night for him if he has that much room to move around. And in this fight, he needs to keep Ian Garry's back off the fence and needs to keep Ian Garry away from the fence.
Let's just call it a 1-1 fight going into the third round right here. All's at stake in this fight. So this is going to be an interesting one, man. It'll be fun. It sounds like both of us seem to be picking Ian Garry in this Belal matchup. Is that correct? You have Ian Garry in this matchup?
No, I'm going to go with Belal.
You got Belal?
If Belal wrestles. That's the problem. That's the problem.
But you can't say if, because I was saying if JDM sprawls, if he can keep it on the feet, if he could keep it on the feet, he might win as well. But so you believe Belal is going to go back to the OG Belal Muhammad, where the way that he fought Leon Edwards would be the perfect way to fight Ian Machado Garry. Paul on the outside, get in on the inside, wrestle his ass to death, and just exhaust him.
Yeah, he needs to be in that pocket. He needs to let his hands go. He needs to sell the hands to go ahead and get in deeper on the takedowns. He's got to fight him in that phone booth. He's got to keep that back foot on the fence or right out or the front foot inside that black line. Most of us say, hey, let the black foot go inside the black line, in between the black line and the fence. Ian Garry's whole body needs to be in between that black line and the fence. And that's where Belal needs to live. He cannot afford to have him take the center of the cage. It's going to be a long night for him if he has that much room to move around. And I think Belal, just move your head a little bit offline, commit to your combinations, and get in deep enough on the takedowns, drive into the fence, lift and scoop. I think he can do that.
Josh, help me out with this one. So I saw an interview recently with Belal Muhammad. It might have been today, and he starts off the kind of how's this fight going to go with the question. And he starts off the answer, I'm going to dominate this guy. I'm going to wrestle him. I'm going to dump him on his head. And then he pivots and he goes, and then I'm going to let him up because then I want to box him up and I want to show him what I could do. Is this tactics right here? Is he pulling our chain? Is he feeding us the same thing that he fed us in that last fight against JDM that completely backfired? And he's putting that in Ian Machado's head. I think this is going to be a mano in the center of the octagon. He's going to show those Canelo hands that did not work, all because he wants to get Ian Garry heavy on that front foot because he knows I'm going in there, baby. It's back to wrestling Belal from the opening bell to the last bell. Is this a ploy, or does he really believe those hands are going to come out at some point?
Dave, let's hear what he has to say.
Give me 1 second.
I'm hoping it's a ploy, though, to answer your question. I'm hoping.
I felt like I saw something. Let's watch it now because I felt like I saw something flip where he goes, you know what? Let me put this out there to get people thinking, maybe even Garry thinking one thing.
A very thorough and broken down prediction. What are you going to do to Ian Garry in there on Saturday?
Honestly, for me, it's I think Ian's going to try to run around the whole first round. But then by the end of the first round, his little point jabbing is not going to work. Then I'm going to grab a hold of him. I'm going to take him down. I'm going to let him back up just because I want to show him that I could take it down if I want to. And then I'm going to outbox him because he said he could outstrike me. He thinks he's a pretty striker. He's been in there with some great strikers, right? He's been there with MVP. He's been there with Shavkat. He's been there with Pratis. And none of the guys finished him. So for me, it's finishing him on the feet and then reminding everybody who I am.
Damn, I mean, that would be a hell of a statement, but what does it do here? I mean, obviously the elephant in the room, Islam is now the champion. Does this change your future plans here? I know you've talked about maybe middleweights, like, is that in play? Or what do you think the victory, if you get it the way you want to, what does this all mean?
I mean, we're looking at Jake Paul. No, I'm messing with you. For myself, it's only focusing on one guy, man. I don't want to look past anybody. I'm only looking at.
Yeah. Look, I'm just hoping that it's a ploy. I'm hoping like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and let you up. Now, I believe that Belal will take him down and he'll let him up a little bit and then retake him down. But what I saw from Ian Garry in terms of his takedown defense, he's got good takedown defense. When he hits the ground, though, he's lost. And look, your conditioning and cardio, like in a video game, will drop drastically if you take too much damage from the bottom. And I could see that potentially happening after just one, maybe even two takedowns. And Belal's been doing a really good job of getting takedowns and then pulling you away from the fence and making sure that you need to actually know how to get back up to your feet, not just using your body against them. And that's where Belal, I think, has a lot of success. And in this fight, he needs to keep Ian Garry's back off the fence and needs to keep Ian Garry away from the fence because he uses his long limbs and his ability to posture up or post on his hands and put his back to the fence and then start to dig underhooks and wall walk. He's really good at that. Belal not being the taller guy. Belal not being like, that big and that tall and long and lanky, it's going to be harder for him to hold someone down who's that tall, long, and lanky. I used to train all the time with Luke Rockhold. Anytime we did wall drills, he would just post on his hand and like sit his hips up. He was already up to his feet. There was nothing I could do because he was so tall and long. I know he was a lot bigger, but still, regardless, my point is that guys that are that tall, long, and lanky, they have an advantage on posting their hand and getting back up to the feet.
Yeah, I see that video, and I hope that it is what we think it is. He's just joking around because he knows it backfired last time. And I would agree with your point that, I don't think anybody purposely lets anyone up. But if you feel somebody getting up, there's a point like Marab likes to do where you kind of let them, you exert the energy and you mat return them because you still got the positioning, you've got the control in the wrestling. And I think we can see some of that. Belal's not really known as a finisher. That's the problem, right? He doesn't have a tremendous amount of submissions, nor does he have a tremendous amount of knockouts. And so he's usually in there for the full 25. And so that means not making any mistakes, right? If you let the guy back up or the guy gets back up, you have to get right back in there again because anytime you're circling the center with Ian Garry, he's one of the better snipers in all of the UFC, much less even the welterweight division. Tall, lanky guy. Shots right down the middle. He's very good at the rights, right hand, right kick, follows it like he did to Daniel Rodriguez and other people. Sneaky attacks. He'll chop the legs up. You have to be in a guy's face like that. So Belal needs a very, very much have a gritty type of fight for the entire 25 minutes.
Hey, pull this up. Is this a 3-round fight? Because that does change things. Ian Garry could potentially stay away for 3 rounds.
Yeah, I'm talking about this like it's the main event. This might be a 3-rounder.
I believe it is a 3-rounder. It's the co-main event. And that changes the way the outlook is. Like for me, Ian Garry can stick and move for 3 rounds. If it was a 5-round fight and he had to survive takedown after takedown, especially as he got tired, because
that makes it interesting.
Carlos Prates had his way with him in the 5th round when they fought. And that lets you know. And Carlos Prates was not wrestling as much. It's a 3-round fight.
3-rounder.
That changes that makes it a lot more difficult for Belal.
Yeah, and especially Belal kind of admitting here that the first round is going to be tough, right? That nervous energy. He hasn't been taken down yet. He's not damaged. Going to be tough to catch him. Belal's probably looking to make his move in that 2nd round, or at least start finding success and have a momentum shift in that 2nd round. So let's just call it a 1-1 fight going into the 3rd round right here. All's at stake in this fight. So this is going to be an interesting one, man. It'll be fun. Let's just call it a 1-1 fight going into the 3rd round right here. All's at stake in this fight. So this is going to be an interesting one, man. It'll be fun. Whoever wins, if it goes to decision, whoever wins, Belal's not getting another title shot. Ian Garry's not getting a title shot off of a decision. And that's when we start, in my opinion, start looking at these other names, which would be either Michael Morales or Usman, because I wouldn't be surprised to see the UFC say, you know what, if this guy's got one more fight in him, Usman, he's a former champion. Dana White calls him the best welterweight ever, which I don't understand that argument. I can't for the life of me figure out somebody that has less title defenses and was lesser of a star than GSP, how they could somehow be the best welterweight that ever lived. But if that's going to be a fight that possibly gives Islam what I was talking about, that rub, another former champion, a big name to build that status, why not do that as well?